Hey guys, what's up? Back with another video. If you joined it for the first time, you are welcome and I do appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I was asked which one of these should I get in my setup, the AlphaTheta ChordCat or the Roland P6. Instead of answering that question directly, I said, let me just do a video on it because someone else may come up with the same question. And we've all been there, whether you at a beginner level, an intermediate level, or a pro level. We all want to know, what should we get? What's going to serve our needs? How much money should I spend? What does this do? What does that do? So let's get into it. These are two different devices. The AlphaTheta ChordCat unfortunately doesn't have a sampler in it. And I think that's an important component for this. Can you imagine if this had a sampler and you can sample into it and then build chords with whatever you sampled in? Now we're talking about something special. So the fact that the ChordCat doesn't have a sampler and the Roland P6 does, the Roland P6 is definitely going to get a point for that one. So both of these devices have a step sequencer. The step sequencer on the ChordCat actually works like the TRX mode in the SP44MK2. The Roland P6 has a step sequencer here on the bottom. I enjoy the step sequencer on the Roland P6 better, but both of them serve its purpose. I like the step sequencer here on the ChordCat as well. I'm a step sequencer guy. I think step sequencers just add a bit more of a fun element when you're creating, and it just inspires creativity. So the fact that they both have step sequencers, they both do the job, and they both work well, I'm gonna have to give these both a point for the step sequencer option. Let's talk a little bit about the screen. So both of these devices have small screens, but on the ChordCat, you're gonna get more information packed into the screen. So you're gonna navigate a bit better using the ChordCat, being that you can see exactly what you're doing on the screen. When you use the Roland P6, it does have a screen on it, but you have to really know what you're looking at and you have to know your way around the P6 to use it. So when it comes to the screen topic, I'm gonna have to give a point to the ChordCat. The XY pad versus knobs. So what do we all use when we go to the studio? Knobs. What do we use when we're using grooveboxes? Knobs. The P6 has standard knobs on it, and these knobs are going to get you exactly where you need to be with those parameters. It's going to give you accuracy. It's going to give you precision. When it comes to these XY pads, yeah, you're going to get the same thing. You're going to get to the same destination, but it's just not going to be as accurate. In my opinion and in my experience, the accuracy is going to be off using the XY pad. Is it more fun? Sure it is. But let's face it, when it comes to a masterpiece or trying to get exactly what you need a parameter to do, knobs are always going to win. So due to the fact that the P6 has knobs on it, the P6 is going to get a point when it comes to navigation. Effects. ChordCat does have effects in it, but it's very dry, very basic. But it is going to have your standard effects. It's going to have your reverb. It's going to have your filters and all that stuff. When it comes to the P6, you're going to have a whole lot of effects, way more than you probably need. And it's just going to be a lot more fun when it comes to the effects. So in the effects category, the Roland P6 is definitely going to get a point. Let's talk about the pre-recorded sounds. So we already know that the pre-recorded sounds in the ChordCat are terrible. We already know that. And we also know that the P6 doesn't come with any sounds. So you have to sample any sound that you want in here is going to have to be sampled in. But unfortunately, due to the fact that the ChordCat does give you a head start and it starts you off with sounds, 11 banks of sounds, we're going to have to give a point to the ChordCat for pre-recorded sounds. Banks. The P6 has up to 8 banks that you can store your sampled sounds into. And I did a previous video to show you how to actually break that down so you can use your banks to the best of your ability and so you can get the most out of the banks. But you do have 8 banks to store sounds. In the ChordCat, You cannot store sounds because you can't sample, but it does come with 11 banks of sounds and drum kits. So when it comes to banks, Roland is going to get a point. Let's talk about the price. That's going to be the tipping point. We already know that $329, in my opinion, is too much. Some argue with me and say it can be worth $329, whatever. I haven't seen the Roland P6 for more than $269, and I've seen it as low as $249. So when we're talking about a $60 difference, you're definitely going to get more bang for your buck when it comes to the Roland P6. So when it comes to price, definitely the Roland is going to get a point. So we've seen the built-in mic on most groove boxes coming out today, and I think that's a pretty cool feature. And the Roland P6 does have a built-in mic, and the quality of the mic actually sounds pretty good too. The AlphaTheta ChordCat does not have a built-in mic option, so the Roland P6 is going to take a point for the built-in mic. The buttons, let's talk about the buttons here. So the buttons on the ChordCat are nowhere near premium. They feel like a toy. Do they get the job done? Yes, they do. But when you move over to the Roland P6, these buttons are a totally different ball game, and they feel premium. They feel good on my fingers. They promote creativity. And yes, they are kind of small, but they have to be small because you're talking about a device with a small form factor, and you're talking about portability. But the buttons feel fantastic. So when it comes to buttons, the Roland P6 is going to get a point for that. The Roland P6 does come with an internal battery. Once you run out of power on this, you have to find power, or you have to have a power bank to get up and running again. When it comes to the ChordCat, you have a compartment for 6 AA batteries. In my opinion, and I'm sure it's going to vary depending on who you ask, I think the external batteries give you a bit more control because you can have more batteries at any given time. You just pop your batteries in and you're up and running again. With the internal battery, I have to be tied to power somewhere, whether it's with a power bank, whether it's AC power, DC adapter, whatever it is, I'm going to have some type of power to get up and running again. For that, I'm going to have to give the external battery power a point with the ChordCat. I just want to make an additional point there. The ChordCat actually has a feature called the auto on and off, where if you don't touch any buttons or you don't make any changes in 15 to 20 minutes, it's going to automatically turn off. You have to turn the unit back on. So that feature definitely saves you when it comes to battery power.